What's up, everybody? Simon here. On this episode 3 of the Ideal Hour, we are going to talk to a friend and a fellow passionate motorcycle rider, my friend Jose from New York. He goes on Instagram by Track Stars. I got a funny story about this one. I met him in New York at a wedding, my friend Boris's wedding, who I loved for many years. He's a good guy as well. And I got to sit with Trax. Trax at the time was just starting out on his Instagram channel. He was showing me all the motorcycles that he was riding. He had a Panigale. We were just so excited to talk to each other. And at that time, I was so into motorcycles. I was always on YouTube. I was trying to figure out how to get into the corner, not miss the apex, etc. And Trax and I hit it off. And what I remember about Trax is the fact that he had this great personality to him. He always had a smile on his face. He was so humble. He drove my wife and I home after the event. He made sure we got to our hotel, I should say, excuse me. This was in New York. He made sure we got to our hotel. He left the party early. And I always remember that, and his energy was just great. So Trax, my man, I'm so happy to have you on this podcast. Thank you for giving me the time. And I'm excited for you. I got a lot of questions. The first question is, do you remember that wedding?
Of course, man. How could I forget my man Boris? I know him a long time also, and he's family, and sat me at the right table. What a good time we had at that wedding, and like we said, motorcycles brings people together, and the bike culture never fails to unite people.
I love that, man. I'm so happy I sat next to you as well. You were the funnest dude at that wedding. There were a lot of people there, but the bike culture totally brought a lot of people together in the past, and it brought us together to have a really good time. So I got some cool questions for you. So when you were first starting out, you showed me your Instagram. I was like, dude, you really ride. I mean, you were going there like every weekend. You were on the racetrack. You were like, you need to hit up the racetrack. I still haven't done that, so I'm waiting for you to take me.
I
Um,
can't wait.
I think it's going to be a fun episode. So let's talk about motorcycles first, because I think that's such a good component of who you've become. What made you fall in love with motorcycles?
Well, since a child, I'm of Dominican descent, so Dominican culture, especially in Santo Domingo, it is the way of transportation. Even the motorcycles that are cab drivers, they call them motoconchos. So my father had a passion for motorcycles growing up in the Dominican Republic, and I remember my first time. Um, well, not my first time because I went as a baby, but my first time that I recall seeing my father go with my father to the Dominican Republic and see him get on a motorcycle, and I'm like, what is that? I want to get on. And my father told me, this is not for you. You're a kid. Be very careful. Do not touch this motorcycle. And I was just fascinated by these two wheels. Like I had a bicycle at home, but you had to pedal it. And I see him just press the gas and go so fast. When he came back, he had to warn me again, do not touch this bike. But the passion was at a young age, and the curiosity of what it was, and I burned my leg severely
Oh, on the exhaust?
with the exhaust
Oh,
trying to climb on it. And
that
that
hurts.
was
I
that
got it.
that,
And let's
that was
talk about let's that's so cool, man. So it started with your father. You wanted to ride. Your dad's like, "Don't do it. It's not for you because it's dangerous," right? I think they say motorcycles are like 33% more likely you'll be in trouble or get in an accident on a motorcycle than an average car. 33 times they say, excuse me, not 33%. That's what I learned in like motorcycle school, right on the street. Um, but that's cool that you've learned from your father. You watched him do it. You kind of wanted to be like him a little bit, and then you burned your leg, which is a good lesson for everybody. And now you're like this full blown, passionate. You made a business out of this, and this channel is about business, so we're going to talk about that. Tell me particularly, why do you love Ducati so much? Because I've seen you on other bikes, but is Ducati your favorite brand in that whole spectrum?
I mean, My first bike was a Yamaha R6,
Okay.
but Ducati was always the bike that I dreamed of, you know?
Okay. Like a
Um,
Panigale or what?
so yeah, my first bike I fell in love with Ducati was a 999R Feli edition. I was hooked. I had to
Dude,
have this bike.
I want to tell you something. I have a Ducati Fila jacket. I used to wear it when I
Oh
was like,
my god.
you know what I'm talking about? Like those little thin windbreaker Ducati
Yeah.
Filas. That was so cool. I still have them. I'll send you a picture of it.
Oh,
It's
you got to.
I
You
used to
gotta
wear
send
it.
me that.
So you fell in love with the 999, the Fila edition.
And I had to have this bike. So I remember going to the dealership and inquire how much is this bike, and they told me you cannot buy this bike.
Wow.
I said no, I can't. I have the money, and they said, well, it's gonna kill you. You've never ridden a motorcycle before.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it. And I'm like, why would you not want to sell me a bike? But this is Ducati New York, and to this day, they really focus on giving a client what they want, but also what they need.
Yeah.
So there's no, they're not just trying to sell you the bike. They could sell bikes to anybody, but they
Sure.
want you to have a great experience with the brand. And that's another part of why I fell in love with Ducati. They really wanted to make sure I was safe and that I didn't have any regrets with my purchase. And they told me, buy yourself a lower CC bike. This is 1,000 cc bike. Look for a 400 or a 600,
Hmm.
somewhere to start and learn exactly what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. You know, I listened to them, and thank God, because I definitely would have killed myself on that motorcycle.
For sure, bro. And to the audience, 1,000 cc or 1,200 cc, that's a monster. The torque on those bikes are incredible. So if you've never ridden a bike, that period, you have to kind of upgrade from a 250 cc, 400 cc to 1,000 cc. And at 1,000 cc, it's night and day difference. Would you say that correct?
100%.
So it's like buying it's like having your first car be a Ferrari or a LaFerrari. You just don't do that. So although Trax, my first bike after bike school was a Panigale 1199S, which I still have to this day. And it's like riding a bull. I'm still scared of it.
Yeah.
And I haven't like learned probably the proper technique because I haven't got a chance to push that bike to where it could be pushed because I'm so scared of it.
I think a lot of us would be. I think the one of the most difficult bikes to ride from the Ducati company was the 1199 and 1299
Yeah.
because it was just such a torquey bike, a lot of attitude. But also, this is the type of some riders are looking for that type of
Yeah.
action. Bikes have become so, especially like my new bike, my V4R, which is top of the line from Ducati. It's basically a race bike,
Yep.
but it's so docile and it gives you so much confidence in riding it due to the electronics and the progressiveness of Ducati and in their technology and in their way of building bikes for the everyday rider.
I agree, man. First of all, that's like my dream bike. I do want to upgrade to a V4 series, whether it's an S or an R, because the V4s I feel like are smoother. They're in line with maybe the BMW M bikes. Like, I have the 1000RR HP4. And when I ride that bike, and even though it's outdated in comparison to what's out there today, the BMW 1000RR HP4 is just so smooth. I feel way more confident on it. I feel like I could go into a turn. The Ducati is more fun, but I do agree with you. I think it's more of like I think you got to be a more experienced rider to really get into that. It's almost like driving a manual car in some way.
Definitely, I think that with the new bikes, there's just a ease to them, and with the older bikes, it's like you said, that's a great analogy. It's very mechanical
Yeah.
and engaging in how much you are influencing what the bike is doing. And with the new motorcycles now, it almost feels like the motorcycle's doing so much for you. You're just
Really?
along for the ride.
So here's a big question. If I come down to New York, will you let me ride your V4R, or is that or am I off limits?
I don't know. The motorcycles are like your wife. You wouldn't let your wife out or your girlfriend. Like
No,
you just. But but I'll let you take her around the block.
listen, after you made that analogy, I'm not riding the motorcycle and I'm not riding anybody's wife either. That's it.
Yeah, I feel so weird when people ask me like, "Yo, you want to ride my bike? Can you take my bike out on the track and tell me how it feels?" I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that.
No, no, I'm not gonna let it happen. I'm not gonna. But listen, I had an instance like that. So when I first got a bike, I think it's on my Instagram years ago. A coworker rode the bike. He's like, "Oh, I know what I'm doing," etc. Dropped the bike. Luckily, he dropped it, but not in a way where it's like he's riding while dropping it. He was just too short, and the Panigales sit a little bit high.
Said hi, yeah.
They sit high, and especially the 1199 and maybe the 1299. So when he went down, he didn't realize how heavy these bikes are, and he didn't get that grip. So it slowly went down, but it's still scratched. I
Um,
replaced some things on it and so forth, but you'll see. And I was like, oh man, why did I let that guy do that? And I was bummed for like a couple weeks, right? But
yeah, yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
gonna like
You try to
get in
play
the
it off too. You're like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, you can't play it off, and you play it off, but deep inside, you're like, God damn it, f this guy, f, and I regret giving it to him. So I respect that. I'll get a bike out one day there, or you'll come out here. So let's continue. Biggest differences, because I know you're a track guy. Biggest differences between riding on the street for you and on the track, and which do you like more?
Oh man, this is well, if you would have asked me when I first started riding motorcycles, I would have told you the street, man. But after my first time on the track, I realized that the track is the place to be. I mean, imagine, right? You're not worried about police. There's no speed limit.
Wow.
There's nobody texting on the street. There's on
Yeah.
the track. There's nobody drinking on the track. Like you're not concerned with so many things that we're worried about on the street. No pedestrians crossing or anything to worry about. Everyone's going in the same direction. I mean, it's just total freedom to push your bike and yourself to the limits in the safest place possible. Imagine you on the street with no worries. And then the track is designed, most importantly, for you to crash on it.
Yeah.
So the track is designed to give you the best scenario for performance and the best scenario for worst case scenario, which is a crash. So there's no barriers for you to crash into. Um, no trees.
No
You
car
have
that's gonna run
you
over you, right?
exactly. You got runoff, no light poles. So it's really designed for you to have that sense of security and that need for perfect performance.
Yes, and a sense of freedom. You could really push your bike. You could feel more comfortable. You could go at your pace. And you probably notice a lot of guys on the track, like any professional out there with a few bad apples, they're generally there to accommodate you and make sure you're also having a good experience. They're all friends there, not like a car or some angry person in their car that is upset. So people there on the track are mindful of their safety and yours, right?
Of course, and most of these track days are run by track day organizations, professionals,
Mhm.
who have coaching there and instructional, and not everyone is put at the same time. So you have levels to it. You have your novice rider, which is your beginner. You have your intermediate rider, which is your somewhat experienced rider. And then you have your advanced or expert level session. And
Nice.
these you're put in according to where you go. And the most beautiful thing is that when you go in as a novice rider or your first time on the track, you're basically in school.
Yeah.
You're being taught exactly what an entrance to a corner is, what the apex to the corner is, and what the exit to a corner is. And it's completely applicable when you go to the street. So as soon as you leave the track, I always like to say, with 1 day of track riding in a good school or a good track day organization is worth 1 year of riding on the street.
Wow, that's bold, guys. Did you hear that? 1 day of learning how to ride a bike on a track is like a year. And let me ask you another question. They won't let you out on the track unless you've had some training, or will they?
No, you
No,
can go to a track day without a license.
you can. Okay, wow.
You
Okay,
you're the main thing that you have to know is the basics, which is how
okay,
to ride a motorcycle.
okay. Is that a little scary or dangerous in some cases? Wouldn't you rather want some people to experience like an hour I mean, there are rule sets, but like some training?
My ideal situation for anyone who wants to get into this, I always recommend go to motorcycle safety school, learn how to ride the motorcycle, learn the proper tools of learning the controls and everything. As soon as you do that, maybe ride for a week or two on the street just to get comfortable and come straight to a track day.
Wow,
There,
that's quick.
yeah, I believe that if you stay too long on the streets, you develop bad habits that you have to unlearn to ride on the track. But the track prepares you immediately for the street, but the street will never prepare you for the track.
Guys, I want to point that out. The street will never prepare you for the track, but the track prepares you for the street. That's crazy, man. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. All right. So we kind of covered Ducati New York, which I've seen you post on Instagram a lot. It seems to be you're out there a lot. And we'll get into how this has become a business for you. I think that's great for the viewers because a lot of people are passionate about the writing part, but not how do you convert that to business, right? That's what this channel's about. And I always said it, what makes more money that you love doing is so much funner, right? So what would you give advice, let's say Ducati New York, to someone who is looking to buy their first Ducati or motorcycle? And you could briefly touch on it because you have in a little bit in the past.
Well, if you're interested in a Ducati, there's no other brand that I recommend other than Ducati because it's really it's almost like a religion with Ducati. You know, we really wear the gear.
Yeah.
So Ducati has all the gear from jackets to shirts to shoes, and Ducati's fanatics, Ducatistas wear their gear. It's like being a fan of any baseball team, basketball team from your city. Ducati is represented the same way. So wearing the gear is like representing your city team.
Yeah.
Um, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, Ducatistas wear their gear,
Okay.
and then it's just also the presence of Ducati brand. It's very similar to that of Ferrari, Lamborghini.
Mm.
I'm not at the level to afford a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, but I can afford a Ducati. And Ducati, when they pulls up anywhere, that's the presence of exotic, of luxury that you're coming up with. And it doesn't matter if it's a Ducati scrambler, it's just gonna attract the eyes
Dude,
of
I want
every
to
single
talk to you
person.
about that. I completely agree. And I'll give you an example. I couldn't afford, well, there are times in my life where I could afford a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, and I ended up not buying one and investing in real estate here and there. and I've always wanted one. But for me, it was always, if I buy this, I have to give up this, right? In that sense. However, having a Ducati, that 1199, and I bought it years ago, just before the 1299 came out. I would show up to car events and I put an SC exhaust on it. And if you
Oh,
know SC, that thing is
it
loud,
is
right?
loud.
Is
Yeah.
loud. Yeah, and they say loud pipes save lives, you know. So that exhaust, I put the clear clutch cover on it, you know what I mean? So
Woo.
that bike I
Yeah.
did, I forgot which tuner, but I showed up at a car event, Cars and Coffee or whatever, with Ferraris and Lamborghinis, and we had an Enzo there, and we've had like the nicest cars, guys. But with my Ducati, I got as much attention, and people were asking, "Which exhaust is that? What is this? What is that?"
Yeah.
And I felt great. And you're right; it was for a fraction of the price,
Of the car. Yeah.
but you still felt like you're part of that luxury community, that prestige, that feeling of I belong here, even though it was a car event, which is very interesting. And you know, years down the line, I brought a different car in, and then I would bring the bike in. And the car, I had this very customized Range Rover with exhaust, and people loved it, and Forgiato wheels and all this. But
Oh yeah.
the bike got way more attention every time I would roll up on that Ducati, man.
It's
So
just something. It's just something about the brand, and that's what I love the most. And especially at Ducati New York,
yeah,
which what is it's New York. It's one of the flagship stores in the country. Um, they just have such, even though they're such a high end brand,
yeah,
they're so humble
yeah,
and so accepting and so embracing of the person who seems comes in dressed in all Gucci to the person who comes in flip flops and
yeah.
shorts and has looks like they have nothing. They treat them the same and they receive them the same, and that's why Ducati New York is who I love to represent. I mean, I love the Ducati brand, period, but I'm the ambassador for Ducati New York, and it was a long dream to become that. And I think I worked really hard to represent that type of culture too, because like you said, I try to be that way too. No matter what I have, I try to be humble. I try to be embracing of everyone else and make everyone feel comfortable and give them the knowledge and ability that they can do everything that I'm doing.
Congratulations, man, on that, by the way. And I remember you were always there, and then you became an ambassador. You would show up just to check out the bikes, and you know, I'm a fan of yours as well. And we're going to get into that shortly here, how you became an ambassador, what it took to get to that level. That what people don't see maybe is oftentimes you post up something, I'm an ambassador, or I'm advertising something, but they don't see that the hustle behind it to get to that level. Ducati just doesn't say, well, we're going to sponsor you, or Ducati New York, or Dainese, or any of these brands. Like you really have to build an image. And I want to know how you did that. Before we get off the whole riding aspect of where you want to ride to, what you know, like before we get into the branding aspect of it, let's stick with some more riding questions. Like, what is your riding style? You would say, are you kind of laid back, a sprinter, you know, like aggressive? What is your riding style?
I think I have like a balance between aggression and smoothness.
Okay.
Um, I'm a fan of Valentino Rossi. So
Okay.
if you ever seen Valentino Rossi, I think he's a perfect he's the perfect mirror to emulate. I think as a rider, as a person, and his style has always been extremely smooth, but he's also extremely aggressive. He can turn it up. So very much like a Michael Jordan. You know, Michael Jordan
Yeah.
was at moments just he would strike to the rim, and at
Yep.
the same time he can have that turnaround jump shot when it seems he's just never gonna land, and then fade away, boom, and hit a shot on you.
He's a
And
light
and he
switch.
and he would run up and down the court with a smile, hands in the air, very nonchalant. You would never think nothing of it, but at the same time, you knew like that was Michael Jordan, and he's lethal. So
When
I like to.
Jordan when Jordan wanted to turn it on, he would turn it on and he'd let everybody know that he's there. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite athletes of all time.
So Valentino Rossi is also like the
It-
Michael Jordan of motorcycle motorsports.
yeah.
Man, I like to create that same ambience. When I'm on the road, I like to let everybody know that I'm here. I wear fluo yellow like Valentino Rossi, a very bright color, but I'm also, charming, smiling always, and very embracive of everyone, like I said before. So there's a balance even in how I ride in the same way. Like when I'm on the track, I want to go fast, but I'm also very safe, very consistent, and you kind of know exactly what I'm gonna do when I'm gonna do it. So both sides, a good balance.
So basically, what he's saying, guys, is don't let his smile fool you. He's serious, but he's not to be played with on the track. Would you say that is correct?
Well, touche.
That's right. That's right. All right. One more question about riding, then we'll get a little bit into safety because that's such an important part. And also, you have some really nice safety gear as well. Your dream riding destination. Dream riding destination.
If I can go to one place in the world, it would be Mugello in Italy.
Really? Okay. Okay. And why? Why would you go there? What the history or what?
It's a famous racetrack. It's kind of Valentino's home track,
Okay.
Valentino Rossi's, and it's just an unbelievable track. One of the fastest on the circuit. Has a super long straight, and you can hit 200 plus on this track easily.
My guy, for some reason, with this aura, I see you going to that track one day. It's gonna happen. I know you, man. I knew your energy from the day I met you. I was like, this guy's got some good energy. That's gonna happen. Watch. You'll remember me when I said it. I'm gonna play this when you put something up. I told you you were gonna be there, and you were gonna be like, I knew it. So let's talk about. So that is a great track. That's what you want to do. And Valentino Rossi seems to be like a big influence. Let's talk a little bit about safety gear. Why Dainese? Why is it important? What do you love about it? So just give me a little about what's on your chest right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Dainese again. I was introduced to Dainese through Valentino Rossi.
Oh
He
wow.
wears Dainese gear, and he wears the AGV helmet. And Dainese and AGV, Dainese owns AGV now, which is the helmet motorcycle helmet company. So when I got a motorcycle, I knew right away what brand I was gonna wear, whatever the best is wearing, and that's Valentino Rossi. I wear on my sneakers. I wear nothing
Really?
but
Put your
jellies.
foot up, my man. Put your foot.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jordans all day.
Oh, those
Jordans
are
all
fire,
day.
dude. Those are nice.
So
Those are fire.
I like the best. I rock the best. Um, and with knowing that Valentino Rossi was riding motorcycles out there in Dainese gear, I knew that's the gear I had to wear, and I knew AGV helmet was the helmet I was gonna wear as well.
And you know what? To the audience, these are not obviously. This is like premium safety gear. This is not the
Yeah.
cheap stuff. Like a helmet could cost upwards of $1,000 easy, right? In some
Yes, but
cases.
the beauty of Dainese is that they cater to everybody.
Yeah,
So you can Dainese has a $250 helmet.
they do.
And it's 100% safe, and
Yeah.
the comfort is unbelievable. I own K1, K3 helmets. I own K6 helmets. Every helmet has a purpose, and once you go to the track and you want more performance, you go for the price
Yeah.
is gonna get up,
Jump
and
up.
that's where the pista comes in, and that's a $2,000 helmet. The same with the leathers. You can buy $700
Suits.
one piece suit, yeah,
Yeah.
but and you can have a $4,500
Wow.
leather suit.
So, just based on what you told me, and you have the experience obviously with the track days where it seems to me the equipment for track is a little bit more on the premium side. You really have to have a good suit or potentially invest a little more money if you're going to be doing the racing part of it, correct?
Well, I tell people all the time, before you invest in your bike, invest in yourself.
Yeah.
So before you buy the motorcycle, buy your jacket, buy your helmet, knowing the bike you're gonna purchase. Invest in your safety. Before you buy the exhaust, make sure you have a nice jacket, make sure you have a nice pants, a nice helmet. That's gonna protect you because your bike can be replaced. You cannot.
Very well said, man. That's excellent advice, by the way. All right, and so I was that you covered my question. What would you give someone for safety advice? And that really nailed it. Get the stuff to protect you first before you invest in some, gears, levers or anything for your bike safety. That would protect the bike first, because like you said, you could replace the bike, you could buy another bike, you probably will replace the bike at some time in the future. I remember you had different Ducatis. I think you had an SP from what I remember. Now you're on a V4R, which is like my favorite. So invest in yourself. All right, let's talk about the brand ambassador part. This is like my fun part of the channel as well, because it's very creative. You've been able to turn your passion from watching your father be on motorcycles to Mr. Rossi riding motorcycles and kind of emulating him. He was your Michael Jordan of that sports world. And now you've become a brand ambassador. So talk to me about how did you get started as a brand ambassador? And then tell us how it took to get there. So go off wherever tangent you want. Just let me know.
I think I knew it was gonna become a business when I was coaching for a company called Evolve GT, and they asked me to do a video on my first track day, and this video happened to go viral.
Okay.
Um, People were everywhere were watching it and asking, "Who is this guy? Who's this guy that said this story? Where's his social media?" And I was very against social media. I like to live my life very private and not put anything up. Even my wife, she had social media. I stayed off hers. Everything. I just like to keep to myself. I'm not a person to show off or really brag about the things I got. But this video had gone viral, and the company asked me, Jose, can you please get some social media because I think it will benefit us, it will benefit you. And I said, I don't know if I should do it or not. But the demand was so crazy. Everywhere, people were recognizing me from this show, from this video on YouTube and on their website, that people would stop me and ask me, yo, you that guy? And I'm like, yeah.
That's
First track day video, they're like, yeah, I saw it, hilarious. So I said, all right, let's see what could come out of this. So I started social media like 3 months after that.
So
And
to
I
me, just to sum it up, it sounds like you were against social media. I'm not really for social media, especially private. I think there's a lot of haters on it. For me to do this podcast was also a little bit challenging to like launch and come out. But it sounds like you were kind of forced into it because you had a viral thing going on and people wanted more from you and your personality. They really wanted more.
that 100%. It was more of the demand than my expectation of
And
what
desire. You probably were
I
like,
desire.
I
Yeah,
need it, I love this, but it led to something.
yeah. So I just wanted a ride
Yeah.
on the track. That's it. But
So
I I I was a business. I've I've always worked in a law firm, Foxhorn and Camerini. I've worked for this firm 22 years. Um, but I was always also an entrepreneur. I owned a barbershop.
oh wow.
I owned the limo company.
Oh wow.
Um, I always owned businesses that I knew something about, but I didn't work it.
I see.
And when I saw this thing with motorcycles, like that it could potentially be a business, and I'm seeing what social media brings to so many people, YouTube. I said maybe this could be the first business that I am the actual worker. I can work it. I had a barbershop. I never cut hair in my life. I own the limo company. I hate driving. I hate driving. But I like to be chauffeured. I love getting driven everywhere. I didn't get my license till I was 26. That's how
Oh,
much I
wow.
hated driving.
Wow.
So I was like, let me my fault, not 26, 23 years old. That's when I got my license. I said, let me do this because I love doing this. I love riding motorcycles. This could be a business. I can do what I love potentially. Started social media.
That's
Track
crazy.
Track Stars was created. I didn't start Instagram without starting LLC,
I see.
incorporating the business.
Good for you.
So I say, if I'm gonna do this, it's not only gonna be for the fun of it. I already do it for fun.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna go put myself out there, it's because I'm gonna do it for business. And incorporated my company. And January 1st, 2021, I put up my first post.
That's dope. And it grew, man. Your social media, where again, I'm gonna put it in the description below. But Jose has over 20,000, I think, followers
Yeah.
on Instagram. Do you now also have a YouTube, or have you done anything
I
on YouTube?
Yeah. I
Okay,
have
yeah,
YouTube as well.
cool.
Same name, Track Stars.
You're gonna send all the links, and we're gonna put them in. All right. What now? Okay. So cool. You started it. There's a big importance of social media that led you. You combined your passion of what you love doing, and you said, "Hey, I'm not a barber. Why do I have a barber shop?" It reminds me of some businesses that I owned in the past. Like one business I have is a welding manufacturing company, and I'm not a welder. I have no idea how to weld. I don't, that's not my culture. Like, if we want to talk motorcycles or business or travel, I love that. But I started a welding company. And when I would tell people, hey, I run this welding company that competes with other like public companies in selling the equipment, they would be like, what are you doing? Where are you from? The Bay Area? Do they even weld out there? Like who the hell? What? So I get it, man. You got to be passionate about what you do, and it will lead to higher levels. What are some of the most effective strategies you would give someone, our viewers, your viewers, to enhance or improve their social media, because you've done such a good job at it? What are some of the strategies?
Well, the strategy is the strategy you would use in anything. So the main thing I would say is consistency. Um, in anything that you do in life, if you stay consistent and you stay true to your your direction, the trajectory is only up. And from the moment like I started Track Stars, one of the things I told myself was I'm staying consistent with motorcycles, staying consistent with the the what's true to me, and not only myself but what I possess as far as motorcycles, gear, um the direction I want to go. Everything was very true and very clear. I wouldn't post a car
Yeah.
if if I'm trying to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
motorcycles.
You're in the niche of motorcycles, therefore you're going to continue on that stream of motorcycles. And interesting enough, I want to add to that because I have a YouTube channel. My YouTube channel has like 25,000 or whatever subscribers, and it's going to go on that channel. Obviously, you guys are watching it on here, but I notice if I post about the same stuff, it just keeps like spiraling. But if I deviate from that and do a video about a topic I want to talk about, which is maybe not related to the previous set of topics, people are turned off by it, which is very, very interesting, right? So, and you mentioned it, like, yo, you're known in the bike world. You get into the car posting, that may not be your crowd at all. So consistency and knowing your audience It has been a problem for me on my YouTube channel, but hopefully you guys enjoy content like this and people like Jose, who I truly enjoy. Thank you for that. All right, and then let's talk about what are, I guess that covers some of the biggest mistakes. If you're not consistent or you're not, or you're distracted with your posts, would you say that's, or do you want to add to what other mistakes with social media you may make?
Mistakes in social media, I mean, are obviously being inconsistency, but being inconsistent. But I think one of the another big mistake you can be is not yourself. You
That's
know,
a good one.
I think people love the flaws.
Yeah.
People love to see your flaws. People love to see your successes, but they want you to be true with that. You know, so truthfulness on the video, on the picture, because we even collide in a picture. You know,
Yeah,
you will
yeah.
like I will never, no one will never ever see me wearing like. Even my friends know I don't wear like Gucci or Louis Vuitton. Like, but if I wore it, they would say Jose was like, what happened? That's not you. You know what I'm saying? Or like let's say if you saw me on
I think what you're trying to say is like, I'm not trying to fake it, any of it. And on social medias, people are constantly putting up something that they're not. You're authentic. That's what you're saying.
and in social media there people who don't know you pick it up quicker than the people who do know you.
That's
They say
crazy.
something is wrong with him. Something is wrong. Like they see it in your eyes. Social media has created something. I mean, we're working through social media now, right? Like we're creating jobs
Yep.
and we're not present, but they do business now, even through here. You understand? Because this camera, we
Yep.
can read the eyes, we could read your characteristics,
Yeah.
what you're doing, and it either feels right or it doesn't.
I
And
agree.
this little thing right here that we're doing right now is the truth.
Yep. Yep. Hey, I agree. I know you would come authentic, but there are people on social media, they got their priorities wrong. I think they don't come authentic all the time, and social media, as good as it can be, it could also be bad. Ultimately, for me, it's all about mindset. Like a person with the right mind, the right direction, the good amount of consistency is going to do well with social media. And there are people that just don't have the right mindset, so social media could drag them down in the spiral effect. You know, they could be buried. They could understand. They could use social media for not a positive thing, or maybe even as a comparison thing. But and they could also fake a lot of things. I've seen that come across all. This is my car, this is my bike, and in reality, this person doesn't have that stuff. They're fronting, and you people could tell. Yet for some reason they don't. They think it's appropriate. All right, let's talk about something a little bit more as we start wrapping up this podcast. You ride motorcycles. That's not, I mean, first of all, that's a very time consuming process. You can't bring your kid along on the back to a track, so to speak, while you're riding. You got to prep your cargo carrier. You got to hitch it to your truck. You got to really get your gear together. This like is if you go out on a Saturday, you're there for quite a lot of time. This isn't like pick up a tennis game and then you're back home within an hour and a half. It's a process. How do you manage your time being a brand ambassador, social media, riding the motorcycles, and then spending time with your family and just give us a little bit of understanding with that.
Well, like listen, just you said you can't put your kid on the back of the motorcycle, but you don't put them in the back of the motorcycle. Yeah, and you could if you have a passenger seat. My bike unfortunately doesn't, but I do bring my kid with me.
You
I
do.
bring my wife with me. I make it family time. My wife loves to go to restaurants. She loves brunches. I'm
Okay.
not really a brunch guy, but I I go. You know, I make sure that my wife feels supported. She loves baby showers and weddings, and I go with a smile. We dance, we enjoy ourselves. I make sure I go to her girl brunches when her girl.
Oh,
Sometimes I'm the only guy at these
really?
brunches.
My wife does the same.
But you got to do it, right? Because my wife supports me like nobody else. So anything she does, I do. So when I ask her to do something, she doesn't. So we make sure, and with my kids, it's the same thing. I show up to the football games, to the ultimate frisbee games. I go to the soccer practice, and I cheer them on, and I support their friends, and I bring the drinks, and I'm out there water boy for everybody. So when I go to the track and I say, "Come with me to the track, I need your help," they do my tire warmers. You'll see in my videos on YouTube. They doing tire warmers. They take my helmet. They help me take my gear off. They get me check my tire pressures. We a team. We look like a pit crew out there, all
Man,
in track
that's
stars merch. But that's the key to this. It's true. It's like any other sport. It takes a lot to prepare for it, and then it's a couple hours at the track, just like you're gonna spend a couple hours at the game, and then it's a couple hours driving back. So
my
it's all
God,
it's
that's
all
awesome.
relevant.
That is so awesome. So you know what Jose is talking about is having a life partner that truly supports his passion. And not only that, he's been able to incorporate his whole family in what he loves doing, but at the same time, he realizes that support from his wife and from his family, so he gives back to them. So when she wants to go somewhere like an event with which he mentioned with all women, he's still there to support her because that's what a family does. So dude, congratulations, kudos. A lot of people, I've made videos on my channel about having a life partner that's going to level you up, and it sounds like you have that in your life. She's there to level you up, not hold you back. And a lot of people in life, I meet so many people, their significant other is afraid of them getting that hype, is afraid of them being better than they were the day before because they're, for whatever reason, they may leave them, etc. But that's cool that you are getting full support and you're involving your family versus keeping it as a separate thing, man. That's great.
Well, remember, security is not being included, right?
Yeah.
So you feel insecure when you're not being brought with, when you're not embraced, you feel insecure. But
Yep.
when you're consistently embraced, you got nothing but security because you feel part of that circle.
Man, thank you for sharing that, dude, and kudos to you. All right, what are your thoughts? And just to touch base back on that one, include your family in what you do and see how they could help you and be as a team, a unit, like you said, a pit crew. I think that's some advice that you would give to all of your followers. Just include them to not create separation.
That's a fact.
Thank you. And so, what are your thoughts of the future of motorcycle racing? You know, we're getting a lot of like electric cars out. There's becoming all of this technology coming out with a safety and stability. And they even have, I've seen come out with motorcycles that are like supposedly will never crash. They'll never tip over. They have some type of balancing to them and so forth. What are your thoughts on all this? Where is Ducati and other bikes? Where are they headed in the future? Is it going to be electric? Is it going to be, crash proof? What are you thinking?
I don't know. I think definitely, obviously, Ducati is going into the electric field of motorsports. As you can see in MotoGP, they have the E division. Ducati is going into the electric field, as you can see in MotoGP. Ducati has provided all the motorcycles on the grid. They are all electric, and it's amazing to see them perform out there and compete because it is just as good as a MotoGP
Wow.
regular race. I think that there's definitely something missing because we don't hear the adrenaline of the sound,
The
but
soul.
but it has a sound to it. E esports, as far as electric, I'm saying it does have a sound to it. It's gonna take some getting used to because to me, definitely the soul is in petroleum. Hearing that gas go through the motor and having combustion and hearing downshifts and upshifts. And
Oh,
with electric, it's just one gear, really,
yeah. It's a whip.
but I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I think that there's a purpose for electric vehicles, and I think it's a clear development of other things to come. I don't think we'll ever do without
The people in bike.
combustion vehicles, fueled motors, but I think there's gonna be. It's okay. We
Yeah.
want more. It's creating more jobs. I think. I don't think it's taking from us. So
Yeah.
I'm not completely against it. I'm excited for it, and if Ducati creates this for the public, I definitely want to try it.
I think there's going to be, and again, I'm not Mr. Pro Rider here, but it's going to give an opportunity for even more people to come into a space and specialize in that particular space. It will expand into something greater. And as you mentioned, will bring more jobs, more passions. Some people are passionate about that, and that's okay. Um, what are your hopes and dreams for your future? You mentioned the track you want to ride in Italy, but what are the bigger hopes and dreams for your future as track stars from any scale that you want to go to right now? Anything, like we're talking 10 years from now, what do you want? Where do you see yourself?
I think my goal right now is to continue to grow. As far as right now, I'm the ambassador for Ducati New York, but I would like to be an ambassador for Ducati USA.
Happy.
Um, I would like to be an ambassador for all of Ducati. I think that right now, with what we've created as far as this platform of social media, the star of the brand is no longer the MotoGP racer, is no longer the Michael Jordan, is no longer the LeBron. I think now there's value in people like yourself and myself, that people feel I can reach that person. When you think of Michael Jordan, or you think of LeBron James or Valentino Rossi, you think of these people as gods, untouchable. You will never reach their level. But when people identify with people like yourself and myself, they say, I can be him. I know him. I know where he comes from. I understand his background, and I am him. So that's why with my brand, Track Stars, you're a track star. Anyone who's from the track and the street is a track star. And I think that's what people connect with. When you hear Valentino Rossi, there's only one Valentino
Yeah.
Rossi. So I think
And he doesn't. He probably. I don't know if he does or doesn't. He doesn't have that upbringing in social media. That journey that you've had, in my opinion. People know Michael Jordan, for example. Michael Jordan doesn't even have like a social media or an Instagram, etc. They don't know the day in and the day out, the constant progression. They don't see it. And what I think you're suggesting, or what I'm hearing, is the progression, the development, the time that you've put in. People relate to people like yourself or myself or anybody else out there on such a level because they've seen you grow as a person. They've seen these steps, the baby steps, the jumping, the crawl before you run type of attitude that you have to have. And they've seen you come up, and that's so important. And I think that's one positive of social media, is to build a brand and to build that following that you will have and you do have. Um, this is a question I like to ask some people, Jose. Uh, what advice, one piece or maybe whatever you want, two piece of advice, would you give your younger self? Like we talked about the future, right? We talked about the future. You said, hey, I want to be an ambassador of Ducati USA, and you probably will be one day, and God bless you and your family. But what piece of advice, if you could go back to the future, or back in time I should say, um, what would you give to your younger self?
I would tell myself, be more persistent with what you want. I think I should have told my mom and my dad, more seriously. This is what I want to do. I want to ride motorcycles. I want to, you know, that day I got burned and I said, they told me, I told you don't touch that motorcycle. You see what happened? Listen to me now. And I did. I said, they were right. I don't want to touch a motorcycle. But deep inside, even with that burn on my leg, I was like, damn, I wish I could just at least turn it on. Let me sit on it, turn it on, and tell me how do you do that? But the fear, the pain, and then knowing that they told me I didn't. And I was be persistent with what you want. Don't give up at it. If you have an idea of something that you want to do, man, follow through and let everybody know that no matter what happened or what can happen, this is what you want to do, and you need help to get to do that at the best of your ability. And I think my parents would have taken it serious and noticed that I have a passion for motorcycles, and I would have been riding at 6, 7 years old.
A younger age and pushing that to the next level,
Yeah.
and you would have
And
been ahead.
my parents were broke.
Yeah.
They had not my parents had nothing. My father worked in a candy factory, but one thing my father did do, he gave me whatever he could, whatever was at his reach. And I know that if I would have told him that's what I want to do at a young age, I would have been doing this a long time ago.
He would have made it happen. He would have
For
made it
sure.
happen for you
Like
because he
any
truly
father,
loved you.
like any mother, they gonna you want to be a basketball player. Let's go get you a basketball. Let's get you the
Yeah.
Jordans. Let's get you. They would have it would you wouldn't have gotten it all at once, but you would have gotten it. But
Yeah.
if you give up at that and you say no, you know what?
Yeah, and to add to that, great parents will listen to their children and they'll do everything to provide for it. Those that are fortunate to have two great parents like yourself will go above and beyond, and you got to communicate that to them and really explore what it could be within yourself to push what you want to become in the future. So you got to communicate that to your parents if you're a young viewer on the channel, and stick through it. I think Trax, you'll agree that you've probably this hasn't all been peaches and cream for you. There's been some nights where I'm sure you were like, man, the hell am I doing this for? You wanted to maybe at certain points in time give up on something, and you just kept going. Would you say that's accurate?
My man, I'll tell you a quick story right
Yeah.
now. I just flew to Texas for the Moto America race. The reason I bought this ticket was to go and meet the Ducati execs to talk about brand ambassadorship for Ducati USA.
Wow.
I go over there. I fly all the way over there with this in mind,
Yeah.
spoken with ahead of time. When I got there, it was insane. It was extremely hot. A lot of pressure on Ducati to win this race. Were securing a championship in the super sport class.
Hmm.
It was very difficult. Actually, I had no chance of talking to any of the Ducati execs. I felt disappointed. I took this trip, invested this money, stayed
Yep.
at the hotel, took the time, left I brought my wife with me, left my kids in New York,
Yeah.
flew to Texas, and nothing happened with them.
Nothing came out of it.
Nothing came out of it. But a lot did come out of it because number one, Ducati USA knew I was there. They saw me there. And out of that, I spoke also with other companies that were present at the race.
Mhm.
I met up with Insta360.
Yeah.
I met the owner of a company named Ride Smart, and we talking business and future endeavors with these companies to see where it goes. So you gotta understand, nothing in life is ever gonna go according to plan. But remember that we never planned for it to go according to plan in the first place. So we always have to have a B, and a C. You have to have something in the chamber. It can't just be one bullet. You have to attack from different angles and prepare for different strategies of success, because success comes from different locations even though we're going in the same direction.
My man, you said that so great. I want to add to that. I've done different businesses. I've been in those meetings where you have such a hype, such a hope. You're so nervous presenting your product. In this case, the product is you. You're the brand. To connect with such a big brand that has a bunch of suits and executives that sit around and make these decisions, and sometimes you don't get that opportunity. And I've had those moments. But you know what I realized in those moments is, just like you said, you think nothing comes out of it, as which is the end goal. But then you start realizing that every time you drop your line in the lake or the river, you're going to get some type of fish, or you have a chance to get a fish. If you're not doing something, if you're not putting yourself out there, you have zero chance of any success, right? If you didn't take that trip, you would say, hey, I didn't, how could someone sign you up if you're not there? But by being at that trip, or by taking that meeting, taking that opportunity, going to that executive party, doing whatever, getting yourself out there, taking that extra podcast, doing all these things that are extra. Each of those steps leads to something. And you said it yourself, success comes from all directions. Ducati may not be knocking on your door this minute, but because you've got a really good branding from another company that's either competing or a complement, they notice, they take notice. And at that point, then Ducati says, wait a minute, maybe we passed up on something great. We got to get this guy in. We got to get this going. And I've had these moments, guys, in life where, listen, I've struggled too. My parents aren't rich like your parents. My dad's a tailor. My mom had a daycare. I didn't get anything but a basketball, you know what I mean? So I would play basketball all the time, and we wanted more. We started working more for it. We found the right avenue. And for me, the avenue, just like your avenue, wasn't always direct. I've had this business, I've had that business, I've had this business. We both didn't really specialize maybe in that business, and it led to something we love doing. So guys, I will wrap this up with Jose Tracks, stars on not only talking about bikes, but talking about life, bringing in family into what we love doing. We're both passionate about what we do, and taking every chance. I think if we could sum this up in one kind of line is taking every possible opportunity out there will lead to something greater down the road, even though it may not be the best outcome that we hope for in the beginning or at the end of that trip. It always leads to something. So if you have an opportunity that you could take today, do it. You never know what comes out of it, who you meet in those meetings, who you will impress, who will sign you, who will become best friends with you, etc. It's always an opportunity. And if you don't do it, guess what? You won't ever succeed in anything else that you do, because you just won't be there. So being there is a big thing. And Jose, Track Stars, man, I'm a fan. I hope you enjoyed this podcast as much as I did. I learned a lot. I see the determination from you, my brother. I think one day you'll get what you want. And I hope you don't forget about people like me. And next time I'm in New York, we're going to get Boris out. We're going to get this guy whipped up. We're going to make sure he has the time of his life. We'll do a reunion. And, this, just like this meeting of you and I in New York, look at that, years down the line. If I was to tell you, my brother, I'll have you on my podcast. You've got a big following at this point. Like, if we talked about this, we'd be like, what? What are you talking about? We wouldn't even, no way, right? It would have been like, what the hell is it? What are you talking about? Are you crazy? Let's just drink. So that's life. Be nice to everybody. Respect everybody, just like you mentioned earlier, and you never know when the next opportunity comes, and for me, this was a joy and pleasure. When I told my wife Veronica that I was going to have you on the podcast, she was super excited. She remembers your smile, your energy as well, and how nice you and your wife were to us, and we were just strangers that really got along. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you, my brother, and to you much success. This is amazing. You know, we were two guys just talking about motorcycles a couple years ago, and here we are, like really doing what we were talking about, and growing our platforms, growing our finances, and growing our passion for something that people think is just a hobby, and then really making it a business. And this goes for anything anybody wants to do. Watching this, is the truth is it's never gonna be the right time. It's always the right time, and it's just a matter of fact of you just doing it. And you just did it, and so did I, and that's why I love the brand Nike, because it literally, it says it, just do it, and success comes from it. So I'm really grateful for you to let me be on this platform and let my message get out. And I'm really grateful that you understood the message, and I see my message in you, because I'm sure it came from you also. Just your inspiration, your devotion to business and succeeding and doing exactly what you love to make money. So I'm directly influenced by you as well, my brother,
Thank
and
you, my
I'm
brother.
grateful.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you so much. You don't even know. I look forward to many more days in the future where we could sit back and look back at this podcast and go, man, what, this was cool. Let's do it again as a recap. I look forward to flying out to New York one of these days, and if I do, I'll make sure I hit you up. I know I message Boris sometimes, but you're welcome to come back on this platform anytime you want. Much love to you, much success. This is like family, and dude, I'm very proud of you, man. I'm very proud of you. I don't know if it means a lot or a little to you, but you're a G, and just keep it up, man. Keep taking care of the family. You're a good guy, and I'm honored to know you. So I really appreciate you taking that time to get on the show and really share that experience that you have. And what an experience and journey it's been. So thank you. Guys, thank you for watching the Ideal Hour with Simon Katz and my guest Jose, Track Stars. I'll link everything below. What a story. What a nice gentleman he is. I wish him nothing but the best. I know he's going to get everything he wants. And one day he's going to take me to the track. You're going to whip me around, Jose, out there, and I'll be scared out of my one piece suit. I'll be good. I'll be good, he says. So, anyway, my brother, thank you. I'll see you. I hope you had a great weekend, or you will have a great weekend, and I hope you enjoyed the podcast.
Same to you, my brother. Like I always say, stay up on tools, everybody. Thank you for listening, and thank you for letting me part of the show, man. Say my love to your family, kiss your
Thank you.
wife and the kids, man.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching. Cheers.
Peace.